Hello everybody, welcome to a special edition of your Community Access. This special program is for you to visit with 4 counties and 3 board members to help with scholarships and grants available to our area. All this today on a special edition of our Community Access. Welcome back. Here is 2 members and the executive director with our reporter, Terry Stiles. Terry?
Hi, Bill. Today I am going to make our Community Access a special because I'm with some very special people. They are board members and the executive director, Kathy Dickens. This is Greg, let me get your Brainerd, right?
Yes.
And then Joe Warden, board members of the 4 Counties Community Foundation. It's been a long time, Bill, since we've even said those words. We are benefactors of 4 Counties Community Foundation, and they are here to let everybody in our community know what they're all about. So Kathy, I'm going to go to you to get a little bit of a history and talk about 4 Counties Community Foundation.
Sure. I'll tell you what I know, and then I have 2 experts that have been around a little bit longer even than I have.
It's always helpful to have the board members around.
Exactly. So the 4 County Community Foundation has been around over 30 years, and it started with a original $2.5 million endowment from the sale of what was a local hospital. And when the hospital sold to a larger entity, the $2.5 million that was earned was then gifted back to the community to stay in the community as a community foundation. And we've grown that asset from $2.5 million to more than $16 million over the years. And so really our footprint right now is in grant making and scholarship making, giving back to the communities that helped put that hospital in our service area. And so we're very proud of that. We give about $500,000 in scholarships a year, $250,000 in grants, and we hope to have a larger footprint within Oxford Township, within the village of Oxford, give out more grants, more scholarships, and more of a network in the Oxford area. So that's really why we're here today.
So the 4 counties represents which counties? Is that Genesee?
Nope, it's
Macomb.
Lapeer, St. Clair, Macomb, and Oakland.
Okay.
Kind of where they meet.
Right, okay,
Yeah.
the junction.
Right.
And so the hospital, you're located in Elmont, correct?
Correct.
And the hospital that you're speaking of was in that area?
It was on what is now Van Dyke, kind of in between Elmont and Romeo.
Right.
And so for 30 years, a board has administered to the foundation, right, and oversaw it. So tell me your position as a board member. What is your responsibility?
Well, I've been a trustee for the last 10 years.
Oh, good for you.
And it's really the stewardship of maintaining, why the foundation was formed in the first place, and really serving the 4 counties. And just to go along with the history a little bit, people do ask about, hey, what is the story behind
The
4
big why,
counties? And,
sure.
And just like you did, they ask us what the 4 counties are. And it was really the corner of each of those counties that came together to form that hospital in the first place.
Okay.
So the story really goes back to the 50s and the need for that community hospital. And the people of those communities came together to make it happen. And so then that naturally evolved into what we are now, because when that hospital was sold, thank God the board had the wisdom to form this foundation, but the thought was give back to the communities that did this and give back forever. So that's what we're living by, and as a trustee, that's what we work to maintain, and it's been a privilege and an honor, and I look forward to remaining an emeritus member going forward.
What a lot of people don't understand too is that the endowment into a foundation is money stays there, it's forever. So we spend the interest on the money to give out the goodwill back to the communities. So we originally, when you think about, they had this need of a hospital, and the communities got together and they raised the funds, created the hospital, and then as medical and hospital needs and as the communities grew, us trying to run a hospital was very difficult. So we had to say, hey, we have to really, in essence, give it up in order to let it be to grow and to get, because we didn't have the money for the new technologies and things like that.
Okay, so the communities outgrew the hospital, basically?
Yes.
Okay.
And so a bigger entity came in and purchased it. And so like Joe was saying, the wise thing those people did was kept money in an endowment into created a foundation, and then we then give out the money every year from the interest we make on the money that we have.
So that 2 million was it?
2.5 million.
2.5 million grew to what you have today, or do you do other fundraising as well?
Well, we certainly have other people contribute to the
Okay.
foundation. We have 121, I believe, 121 funds with the foundation.
My goodness.
Some are endowed, meaning they start a fund that's a forever fund. And so certainly people have throughout the years continued to contribute as the original endowment grows. We're always seeking new investors, in the foundation and in the community. So it's a combination of the original $2.5 million and then a lot of other people, 121 different funds coming in and saying, hey, life has been good to me, this community has been good to me, and I have X number of dollars I wish to invest back in the community.
goodness.
This is what I'd like to see done with it. Then we create a fund agreement with them, and it's really a very enjoyable journey to go on with someone who's ready
Sure.
and able to give back and contribute to the community. Either, in unrestricted funds that could go towards grants to benefit nonprofits, or certainly could be somebody coming in specifically saying, I know how expensive college is, so I want to set up a scholarship with these funds. And it's a really neat journey to be on, to sit alongside these individuals that are at that point.
What a feel-good journey.
Oh, yeah, a real
Yeah.
feel-good journey.
A lot of people like to have their legacy be knowing or
Sure.
for the future. And whether it's a community, whether it's a business, whether it's individuals, is I want this meaning of my family to last a lifetime.
Sure, what a great legacy to leave for your family.
Then they will donate money to the foundation, which will endow the money, which means it's going to be there forever. And then we will invest the money and then give it to that particular need that they choose. Or if it's unrestricted, then we will find, obviously there's needs all over
Sure.
in all our communities that
Right.
we need to try to service.
Right.
And that's a really interesting, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, no, that's-
A really interesting thing too, how the foundation is managed, is that there are several different committees.
You're reading my mind, I was going to
Yes,
ask.
I'm good
The
for that.
financial,
Yeah.
the layers of that, financial management even.
Right. So we have 13 board members, and each board member sits on 1 to 3 or 4 different committees.
My goodness.
And so there's a different committee for each type of activity. There are various scholarship committees. There are various grant committees, proactive grant making. There's senior and youth grant making, and they sit and they help review applications. We have a marketing committee that just met this morning to look at a survey that we're doing. If I could put a plug in for the survey.
Yes.
Yes, if everybody in the Oxford community would go to www.4ccf.org. We have a community survey there that'll take about 10 minutes to take, and we are reviewing the results of that survey, and we'll probably keep it open until October, but right at this point, Oxford is underrepresented in taking the survey. We'd really like you to get on there. Tell us what your strengths are, are, tell us what your needs are, tell us what you're hoping to get funded in this area.
So as
we can be responsive.
individual organizations or as the community as a whole, what are we directing towards?
Individuals,
Okay.
every individual. And if superintendents or business owners or, foremen, any leadership, if they would forward the link to everybody that works for them, just get it out there so that every individual could take that 10-minute survey. And we're reviewing that. We reviewed the results so far today, and that's going to inform some of the work that we do in grant making and look for ways that we can give back to the community, which is what the founders wanted. And so
Historically, we were set up and we began because of a need. And our purpose is to strengthen our communities by looking at and trying to help with whatever needs there are. But it helps us to know from each community
What they need
their
as a
needs
whole.
are. So we can't really, we can, but we're hoping that we get direct input from community members that say, this is where we think our needs are, and we can do several things with that. One is create grants that help solve the need, and also to attract people to say, hey, can you want to help us with this need?
So your grants are not set in stone. I went on your website and saw the plethora of grants that I was just so pleased to see.
Right.
But so you will also create grants based on the community response.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. We can be proactive, and that's what our goal is to be proactive, to see those needs and then take the lead. And we've got an excellent team to do that, and we've got the resources to do it. We just need to hear back from the community.
input.
So we are going to put that website up there a number of times today so that you in Oxford can get to know these people here. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Canine Stray Rescue is Oxford's own local dog rescue. Call them at 248-628-0435 or go to their website dogsaver.org and click on the Canine Stray Rescue League link.
Welcome back to our Community Access, a special edition. We are hosting the Four Counties Community Foundation board members Greg Brainerd, Joe Warden, and Kathy Dickens, the executive director. You all have such huge jobs. I'm just overwhelmed and impressed by what you do for our communities, and it so quietly, really. I've known of Four Counties Community Foundation for a long time, only because I've been involved with the studio, and they've given us grants. So Kathy, let's talk a little bit about some specific grants so it makes sense to our viewers that they don't have to be a huge foundation, they don't have to be a huge nonprofits to benefit. This is for individuals. I looked at your website. You've got health and nutrition grants to help people with health and nutrition, pharmaceuticals. You know how I did a story last week of a woman that is on Medicaid. She's been tossed through the system for 7 years, and they still haven't found out how to fix her problems. So she's put out hundreds of thousands of dollars in pharmaceuticals that don't work. So somebody like that, would that be somebody that could benefit from?
A person like that could definitely benefit, but by partnering with a nonprofit.
Great.
Because our foundation issues grants or awards grants to nonprofit entities and or governmental entities. So for example, schools are nonprofits. Additionally, your senior services and centers are nonprofits that could benefit from awards, grant awards, and then, by that partnership, help a person in that capacity possibly. Villages and communities, park benches, recreational trails, flu shots. The sky is the limit, really. Hydration systems for schools, meaning clean water access and hallways, after-school clubs, robotics, The list goes on and
my
on and on.
goodness.
So
Fire
villages,
departments.
communities, fire departments, ambulance, any nonprofit.
So if the fire department needed one of those
Defibrillators.
defibrillators, you would aid in that?
We've granted
You've
those.
granted.
Done that.
My goodness. And so I know that we also have a community that Addison Township is always searching ways to fund public access to handicapped people. That might not be the right term, but something like that as
ADA
well.
compliance.
ADA compliance for an entire community, for a municipality, that you would be willing to consider a grant for that.
Right, I would encourage anybody who has a need, honestly, to call us, because every situation is so different, to call us and talk to us and see, how we might be able to reach out and help. Libraries, museums.
Oh my goodness, so we have a museum,
historical centers.
Parks, playgrounds,
Yeah.
nature centers.
Food pantries
my
pantries that
goodness, we have-
exist in churches, but yet give food to
Right.
everyone in the community. So definitely food security is a big issue, on the minds and hearts of a lot
So
of
that
people.
goes along with the health and wellness,
Sure
doesn't it?
does, yeah.
So we have churches in our community that give free dinners out Wednesdays and Tuesdays. Is that something that they should look into, your program?
Yep, they're a nonprofit,
Yeah.
and they're giving something to the larger community, not just to their congregation. That
right.
is something they definitely should call about and check out our quarterly grants. Yes.
Oh, that was another question I had. Number one, the grant process, what is that? Or does it depend on the grant that they're asking for?
Well, the grant process is essentially quarterly, though we do have proactive grant making too, so that if somebody needs something like right away, they could call and we might be able to kind of make them work off of a rigid timeline,
Okay,
But generally, they're quarterly grants, and they go online, click grant, and it's a very simple form, really. It doesn't take long to fill out. It's all online. If there are any questions, just phone the number, and Michaela, Sarah, or I in the office can help answer those questions. And then once the grant cycle closes, our committee is able to see those online and read through them, and then we get together and have a very robust conversation about, if we can fund those grant applications or not. And quite frankly, sometimes I think we have too few applicants.
Oh my
I'd like to
goodness, I
see
can't
more.
even imagine.
We're sitting around a table and we're thinking, wow, we've come together and we got the time, but we only have 2 applicants,
Oh my goodness.
And we'd like more. And we'd
Yeah,
like some
of
from
course.
Oxford and Oxford Township.
Oh, and I'm sure that there's plenty of people out there that could use that kind of help.
Absolutely.
Sure.
And so once they've received a grant, so say next year they still need assistance in whatever their program is. We have Oxford Orion Fish, and that's a food pantry. So next year they still need assistance. Is there a timeline, a time limit? Is there time restrictions on your grants? Or
We'd want them to come back and
Over and over.
make another request. It's very interesting because we had our marketing committee this morning and we were talking about just that. And basically it comes down to if it benefits the community, we want to hear about it. We'd love to be part of it. So it's really that broad, and we want to try and help and give back. So that's what the Four County Community Foundation is, and we're all doing our best to live that and keep up with it.
So Greg, I feel like I'm sitting amongst angels, I really do. What does it mean to you to be a board member? First of all, how long have you been on the board?
I'm in my 4th year.
Oh, bless your
So,
heart.
yes, and I've been very blessed to have this opportunity.
And so why and how did that happen?
The thing is, I've been involved in all my professional careers in different building communities. And a community just doesn't exist. It's people that live in the
Right.
community that make
The
things
heartbeat.
happen. And I've been blessed by people teaching me and how to be involved, how to do things. And my belief it's my turn to give back. So that's really what I'm involved for. And I just want to help strengthen all of our communities and then doing what I can to pitch in.
And Greg, Joe, I have a sense that everybody on that board feels that way.
Yes.
What's it mean to you?
It's awesome to be part of it. I'm actually in my 10th year.
Oh, my goodness.
And we do have term limits, so I'm actually in my last year. But we do have an emeritus program, so I can continue to help, continue to be involved, and remain on some committees. So that's what I intend to do. But just like Greg said, it's a way of giving back. It's a way of seeing your passions fulfilled. And we've seen it with so many community members. And we just want to keep that growing and going.
Right, sure. And so you don't have to be a board member to be on a committee, or do you?
No, we do have what we call community at large members.
Okay.
And it kind of gives those folks a chance to get their feet wet and see what the foundation is all about. And from there, they can take the step of joining the board, or just remaining in that position and helping out. And that's been going really well. We've had some great volunteers, and then we've actually already had some that have taken that next step up to being on our board now. So.
And location doesn't matter where they're living. They have to be in one of the counties.
In our service area, which Oxford Township, this area, we'd love some community at large members to come on board. We'd love them to get an experience with us, understand what we're all about, and then possibly, if they have the desire, move up to be board members. But we want more representation in your area.
And what kind of time commitment would that be for people? Everybody always says, oh, I'm so busy.
Right.
It's hard for me not to raise my hand when it comes to
Right.
somebody needing help on a board.
Well, usually
and so-
there's 4 general board meetings a year.
Oh, that's not bad.
And then each committee kind of goes 4 meetings a year, unless there's other issues and things that we come in, we'd be asked to come more. But so if you're on one committee, you have 8 meetings a year, usually in the morning, and an hour and a half. They're really good about keeping the time limit on everybody. A lot of our people are employed, working themselves.
Sure, right.
Along the way. So it's something that it's not a huge amount of time, but we have some awesome staff people on our staff that's doing a lot of the work every day.
Sure sounds like it.
So it's something that it's continuing growing, and we're hoping that we'll be able to find need and solve needs.
Do you get an opportunity to meet with some of your benefactors, or is that, are you like behind the curtain kind of?
No,
You get that opportunity.
Definitely. And the first one that comes to mind are the high school students that have benefited over the years, and directly from scholarships, but then being involved in our YAC group, so they've had exposure to the foundation as well through that. We've helped so many young people, and just meeting them, getting to know them, and knowing that we have positively
Affected their lives,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So if there were, say, an NHS group that wanted to be involved, that would be appropriate to send them your way?
Would love for Oxford Community Schools to
Yeah.
have an active YAC component. Not always conveniently located, mind you, because our service area is
Sure.
large, and so I know the distance sometimes makes it difficult. But yeah, we would love to meet and greet and have some Oxford high school, junior high, high school students.
That comes to mind for me.
Right.
Yeah, those kids are very active in this area, so I don't think that they would be intimidated by the travel time or anything else.
Very good. We would love that. And I wanted to make mention too, not only have we had the great opportunity to meet scholarship recipients, but I've had an opportunity, because I do this, every day. I'm new, but I've had the opportunity to go out and, meet grant awardees,
Oh, my goodness.
such as Darkweather Studio, in Romeo, and see the artwork on display. They had a big art guild opening
goodness.
Friday that I was able to attend.
Nice.
The KPEC backpack and food giveaway prior to the start of the school,
yes,
able to go
right.
there and see all the people that impacts. the senior citizens,
Oh, yeah.
facilities that we've impacted to go and visit them. So without a doubt, and and also meeting just this morning, actually, some I'll call them investors came in because they sponsor scholarships, and they wanted to know how the students were doing. Can you help me reach out to them to see how they're doing in their third year, because they've helped fund them in college now for 3 years, and
They have an emotional investment.
They do, and they want to stay connected, and so there's all these relationships built
my
with each
goodness.
fund that goes out, whether it be a scholarship or a grant.
And so I want to talk about investors. We're going to take a little break, and then we'll wrap up the investor portion of this and how people can be involved in that. And I hate to end this conversation. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
On Friday, it's Fish Day at the American Legion in Oxford. It runs from noon to 8, and we will have over 300 of our best friends enjoying our fish and our carryout. Sure, we have checked it out, and we have found that we have the best cod and walleye in Michigan. Want dessert? It's all homemade by our auxiliary ladies for just $1. For your vets, we have hats, just $5. On the bar side, here's some of our friends. Hi, everybody! On the museum side, some more friends. Hi again! Where you can check out one of the best military museums in the state. All Friday at the American Legion from noon to 8 at 130 East Drainer Road in Oxford.
Welcome back to a very special Our Community Access. I'm with board members Greg Baynert, Joe Warden, and Executive Director Kathy Dickens of our 4 counties. I may as well say our 4 counties Community Foundation. And it's I have chills talking to you and what you all do for every community that you represent. And I want to talk a bit about the donors. We've touched on that. There's several different ways people can donate.
Absolutely.
There's Legacy Society. Let's talk about some of those.
Okay.
Let's get into that. Let's inform people that are willing to donate and want to do something for you.
Absolutely.
Let's give them information.
I'll start, and then Joe and Greg know
Please,
a lot over their years of service
Great.
as well. But I guess the first thing I would say is that investing in your community through the foundation means that your dollars stay local. And so when you go to the mailbox, to get your mail, if you invest in the community foundation, you know that a neighbor down the road might have benefited from a grant that you helped fund. I mean, all of it stays within our footprint. And I think that's the wonderful thing about investing with the foundation. If you invest with a national or an international nonprofit, you never really know where the dollar is going. I'm sure it's going to a good cause, but we know where your dollars are going, and they're going locally. So we will certainly take investment in the community by way of small checks, cash. Small. Every penny counts. Every dime counts. So we turn nothing away. If a person isn't what you would envision as wealthy or rich, doesn't matter. You can still invest with us. So we take donations of any size. I call them investments because it really is. It's not a donation. You're not giving to the foundation. You're investing in your community. It's really a different concept. And so there are different models. Again, stop by, give us a cash donation, a check donation. You can earmark it for a particular fund that we have if you want, or a particular cause if you want. You can click on donate online, www.4ccf.org, after you take our survey. If you want to hit on donate, you can certainly do that. Additionally, there are some more sophisticated models for people that come into a little bit of wealth and they want to, again, invest it back into the community. There are several different investment ways they could go. Actually, people have cited the 4 County Community Foundation as a benefactor in a trust. So they've left some of their, basically inheritance to
Sure.
the foundation, so that they know that, again, it's invested in the community. Some people take out insurance policies, and again, make the Fort County
so
Community
like life insurance.
a benefactor of the life insurance policy. We have people doing that. There's charitable gift annuities that can be, the foundation can be a benefactor towards. Really, the sky is the limit. People have left property to us. People
my
have
goodness.
gifted stocks to us. And so however they have their capacity that they wish to invest back in the community, we will work with them. And when you talk about legacy building, I know that Greg and Joe have a lot to say about that particular thing, so.
Yeah, I'd like to go back to, we have over 120 funds that have been created over the past 32 years. And behind every one of those funds is a story and a passion as to why that fund was created. And it gives that family or that person the ability to give back forever in the way they chose. And I love every one of them. Just an example of one is our Hilda Hill Fund. And Hilda had a passion for nursing, the nursing profession, and the medical profession. And she left those funds to support that, to support high school students who are pursuing.
Oh, scholarship kind of funds.
Yes.
Wow.
And so over the years, it's been hundreds of students who have benefited and hundreds of thousands that have gone to that. And that's just one out of the amazing
Sure, right.
funds
Of
that we
the
have.
plethora of, and so the student would then apply for those funds the same way. They would go to your website and just state what they're interested in.
Yes.
Yep, and this year the scholarship window will kind of open in early December, so that as
okay.
students
Good to know.
are looking to go on Christmas vacation, I mean, if they have a little time on their hands and they want to get started, they can get started. You know, Joe made me remember a story I have to share. I was able to have lunch with an investor last week who's been active with the foundation for years, and he was actually a Vietnam veteran. And interestingly enough, one of the things that he is really passionate about is food insecurity.
Oh.
And I said, tell me about that. Why is your passion food insecurity? And he said, well, when you're sent out to the bush for 60 days and you have 3 rations,
Oh my goodness.
it's just you and your buddies, you're out there. He said, you understand what hunger is? And he just looked at me and he said, no one should feel that hunger. Children shouldn't feel that hunger. And I'm like, wow, brings a tear to your eye.
I was just going to say, how did you not just,
I did cry.
I would have too.
But that's the level of passion that these people carry. And then when they come and they say, this is what I want to, help fund. I want to help protect others from feeling that way. Those are the stories that really do bring a tear to your eye. And it brings a tear to their eye too, to know that they're making
That
a
they are
difference
helping.
in that way. And so those are the rich stories that we get to experience over the years.
And it's amazing how the community gets behind those funds. So that was his passion, but others are out there with that same passion, and now, they're giving to that fund.
Sure, so it just continues to roll over and grow.
It just multiplies,
Yeah.
And that's what we're hoping people to understand. It's, you give $100 to a organization and the organization does well, good with that, and the $100 is gone. When you give the $100 to us, we're going to spend the $5 that we made interest on every year, but we're going to do that forever. So
Yeah,
that's
love that
the thing.
legacy.
So when you have that passion, or you have that need that you feel you want to contribute towards, that's what will happen. When you contribute towards that to the Fort County Community Foundation, we're going to have that forever to be able to give out as much as we can
Right.
to help serve the needs of our community.
We're not going anywhere.
Yep.
We're blessed in that way. We're not going to go away. We are here forever.
So let's recap. No matter what anybody wants to do or how they want to be involved. It's the same www.4 as in the number, ccf.org.
Correct. Correct.
And then there's no time limitation if they want to become a donor. It's not like they have to wait till January or the fiscal year.
No.
And then, so 4 times a year.
Our grant
Are your
cycles.
grant cycles.
Yep, and our scholarship cycle, of course, is, open in December, and then we have our scholarship committees review those in the spring. And then when you talk about investing in the foundation, I want to make it clear, too, that if you talk to me, Kathy, I'm a conversationalist, so that nobody has to be intimidated. If you have $100 and you're just curious, like, what would you do with it? Where would it go? How can you help me help the community? I want to have that conversation, and it doesn't have to be immediate either. What I'm finding is that a lot of people who want to invest in the foundation and invest in the community, they have questions, they'll call, they'll get their answers, they'll think about it for a few weeks, they'll call back, they'll have a few more questions, and it's really a relationship. It doesn't have to be an immediate thing. It's not a pressure cooker. We're here to inform, we're here to collect information, and we're here to guide, and we're ultimately here to give back. And so
you're here no matter what.
And we're going nowhere, and so it's not an intimidating process. We will walk alongside of whomever should come. We've had a few people knock on our door and want a tour of our house because it's so cool. It's an Octagon Victorian. And we give them a tour, and they'll say, I'd like to buy a book on the Octagon barn or the Octagon house, and here's a $50 contribution. And I'm like, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. So every visitor, every investor's a little different, and that's what makes the job so rich. So no one should ever be intimidated by calling or stopping by.
Oh, and it's a welcoming place. It's really neat to go in there. If you get an opportunity and you're in Almont, it's an Octagon house, like Kathy said. It's really interesting history. If you talk to anybody in there, they'll tell you a little bit about the history. I think it's so intriguing to go in there. And we're all very fortunate that you're in our community as well. It's not like you're stuck out there in Almont.
No.
You're welcome to come to Oxford anytime.
And could I ask the community to do this too, wanting a better relationship with the community?
Yes.
If you have a nonprofit, or even if you have a new business, invite me. I will come out here. I would love to bring a couple board members to visit your facility, to learn about your nonprofit and your passion, learn about your business growth, learn about the town. I want to come back. I want to come back often, so please invite.
There's a couple of you out there I'm thinking of right now, so I'm going to start giving out names of people that you can contact and expect to see this group of people more often. Thank you, all of you, for visiting us today, and thank you for listening in. Back to you, Bill.
Well, that's all the time for this special edition. We hope we can help our area, grants, and our scholarships. We certainly hope you enjoyed our program. So for our reporter and editor, Terry Stiles, I'm Bill Service. We hope to see you again at our Community Access.